Well, welcome and thank you for joining us for our webinar today, which is called Surveying Simplified, the top BricsCAD tools and techniques. Now, I'm Julie Kavarian, your host today for the webinar. I do want to mention we have a couple of special guests that we'll hear from a little bit later. Alejandro Rodriguez, who is the Bricsys channel manager in Latin America. He's going to talk about a customer story. And also, I'm so excited that we have Tom Neighbors from 12D Synergy. He's a digital engineering specialist. Now, 12 Synergy is one of our third-party application programs for common data environment and collaboration software. So we're very excited to hear from them a little bit later. And with that, I'm going to turn off my, my camera, and we'll get into the agenda and all of the little housekeeping items. All right, so our agenda today starts with an introduction of Bricsys and BricsCAD, and then we'll dive right into some of the new and improved features in the survey toolset for BricsCAD Pro, focusing on a couple of things: how to streamline your workflow when working with Leica hardware. We'll look at some of the tools and workflows that help surveyors create their specific deliverables and do that faster and easier, and introduce some new tools to improve BricsCAD collaboration with GIS data. Then I'll have Alejandro provide some insights as to why customers love BricsCAD's point cloud tools. And Tom Neighbors, as I introduced, from 12D Synergy. He'll show us a little bit about 12D Synergy and how it simplifies how teams manage project information, so you can trust that you always have the right information at your fingertips. Now, a couple of minor housekeeping items. Please post all your questions in the chat. We also have Craig Swearingen on the line. He's our BricsCAD implementation specialist. He'll be monitoring and answering those questions. Of course, at the end of the presentation, we'll have some time for live questions as well. So I do encourage you to post questions. Also, if you'd be so kind as to, and I think everybody has, put your mic, mute your mics, just so we don't get any background noise. And let's see, with that, one other thing. We do have a couple of polling questions throughout the presentation. I think there's 3 in total, just to get a little bit of feedback from all of you. So I do hope you'll participate in those polls. And with that, well, let's get started. First of all, what is BricsCAD? Who is Bricsys? Well, Bricsys is the company and BricsCAD is our CAD product. And it's a professional DWG CAD platform without compromise. We're the #1 professional CAD alternative. Now, what does all that mean? Well, first of all, BricsCAD is a native DWG drawing CAD solution for both 2D and 3D. We've been around for more than 20 years, so we're a proven solution. And it's familiar. That goes back to it's a native DWG platform. It's familiar, and that's also important because it means there's a very short learning curve. You'll see a lot of familiar tools and it looks familiar. AutoCAD users typically can be up and running in several minutes. Also, along with familiar, it's Autolist capable. So if you have existing Autolist routines, you can bring those right over to BricsCAD. As well as you can migrate your current other customizations. Maybe you have printer files or templates, blocks, layers, command aliases. All of that can come over to BricsCAD, so it is just familiar like your existing environment. We also believe that the DWG platform still has a lot of future improvement in it, and that's why we've developed a lot of different productivity tools. And most people, when we do show them, we get a lot of oohs and ahs from our users on that. Now, what about licensing? Excuse me. We offer a very flexible licensing with network, perpetual, and subscription. So you can pick and choose which licensing objects work for you. It's your choice. You can mix and match. What we don't do is require named users. So what else about Bricsys? Well, Bricsys is part of Hexagon, and Hexagon is a very large multinational hardware and software company, over 5 billion in revenue. So they're a technology group with a lot of companies under them, just like Bricsys. And what about our pricing? Well, typically Bricsys pricing is about half of our main competitors. All of this means that BricsCAD is a high value, high tech, professional DWG CAD solution. So, who uses BricsCAD? Well, these are some logos from some of our customers. You can see that it's a mix of large and small customers in all kinds of industries: engineering, design, manufacturing, architecture. One thing that they have in common is they all agree that BricsCAD increases productivity and it's familiar to their existing CAD environment. And these are some of the quotes that they've said about BricsCAD. BricsCAD itself has 5 different editions. We have Light for our 2D work. Pro has everything in Light, as well as all the 3D modeling and workflows. Now, that Pro also includes the survey toolkit, and that's what we are going to be focusing on today. We also have a BIM and mechanical that have some BIM tools and some mechanical tools. And if you wanted everything, that would be BricsCAD Ultimate. BricsCAD can help you work faster and better. So let's take a look at some of those specific features in the survey toolset. Now, first of all, we talked with Leica equipment users, and they told us they love their Leica hardware and software, but they're often frustrated because they cannot take advantage of everything in that hardware, specifically because the hardware doesn't support the CAD software. So, or I should say the CAD software doesn't support it. So we've created a Leica convert command to address just that. Now, you might be wondering, why am I talking about Leica hardware? Well, Bricsys and Leica are both under the Hexagon umbrella of companies. Remember, I said Hexagon is a huge hardware and software company. This is part of that. All right, time for our first poll question. Craig, can you put up the poll question, please? And there we go. So, do you currently use Leica hardware equipment or software? If you could let us know, yes or no. And let's see. Craig, can you tell me what the results are?
Right now, we're 50-50 with 4 responses.
Okay, come on, people. Let us know. Are you working with Leica hardware?
I don't see the poll. Well, I hear a few poll. Okay, I got it, I think.
You got it? Anybody else?
We're 50-50 with 6 responses.
Okay.
And 2 verbal no's.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being creative. All right. Let's move on. So, what does all that mean? Well, with really one click, we can import points, surfaces, and string objects along with all of the extended information that's collected in the field. And we've worked with Leica to expand this collection to delivery workflow to bring more benefits to our users. So you can create BricsCAD templates, including layer definitions, line styles, blocks, and then use these directly in Leica Infinity. Now, here in Leica Infinity, these BricsCAD templates will map to code tables so that the data is captured and cleaned up using the styles needed for those CAD deliverables. So you can adhere to your client-specific CAD standards by creating these templates once and using them over and over. Now, if you need more detailed information on how to do that, how to create those templates, we have a video on the website to get you up and running. Once that survey job has been completed and adjustments are made for corrections in Leica Infinity, then it's a one-click export to create an enhanced drawing DWG that can be opened just as normally you would open a drawing in BricsCAD. And it looks exactly as it did in Infinity with those layers and blocks. The Convert Leica Drawing button will convert those entities into civil objects, including points, strings, and tin surfaces. Now, all these entities have extended object data containing important information. For example, double-clicking on a civil point brings up the civil point editor, and you can see all the user attributes such as code, code description, name, and more. These extended user attributes can be used to create point groups very quickly and easily to make the survey job easier to work with. The surfaces, they can be created in Leica Infinity or BricsCAD, your choice. The important thing is that you don't have to recreate the work. Now, if line work was collected, you'll see it in your data collector in Leica Infinity, and now in BricsCAD as our string civil object. Again, no rework is needed. The data is editable through the string editor with elevations, horizontal geometry, statistics, and all geometry is maintained, including 3D arcs. So BricsCAD 25 enables surveyors using Leica equipment to streamline the field collection to CAD deliverable workflow, delivering according to your client standards with less manual set work, less rework, and fewer opportunities for those errors to creep in. Now, with BricsCAD 25, we continue to focus on land surveyors by adding some tools that they've been asking for, and we think they'll be excited about. But it's important to understand that these mapping workflows apply not only to surveyors, but also to drafters, GIS technicians, and some civil engineers. Let's take a look at that. Now, as you all know, surveyors get paid on some very specific deliverables, and we've greatly improved tools and workflows that they use most often by making them smarter, faster, and easier. Strings were imported from our survey job, and these can be edited as needed. If we add a new PI, you'll see that we can perform easy graphical editing. Double-clicking on a string also brings up the editor panel, just as it did with a point. And we can see the new PI added right within our panel. We've also updated transparent commands, making them persistent, saving you time and clicks. We've added transparent commands for deflection and distance, as well as angle and distance, so you can enter survey-specific data directly into your typical CAD commands, which makes surveying drafting easier with giving you more control and letting you work the way you expect to. Now, the curve calculator allows curves to be defined using whatever data you have. You can snap to an existing string or point to start your curve and then graphically pick the direction you want. You don't have to figure out, is it left, is it right, is it clockwise or counterclockwise? Just click it and you're done. Also, you can graphically pick an existing curve in the drawing and use that to populate the calculator fields. So the curve calculation makes it quicker and easier to draw curves with no need to copy and paste to the command line. Now, survey CAD deliverables usually follow very specific CAD standards, and labels for lines and curves are no exception. Line and curve labels can be quickly created using defined user styles. Just select the civil objects you want to label, and they'll be labeled. Now, these are smart labels, and that means moving a label from, say, a line segment to a curved segment will change the label style. So again, one less thing you have to worry about. And these labels are also plan readable and viewport scale dependent, ensuring you get to your CAD deliverables more quickly. We also have better collaboration with GIS data. What do I mean by that? Well, unlike traditional CAD formats, KML is widely used beyond engineering and design circles. So it allows non-CAD users, people maybe that are doing project management or they're environmental analysts, local authorities, etc., to easily view and interact with geographic data in applications like Google Earth. It's an ideal format for site recognition, project validation, and collaboration between CAD and non-CAD professionals. So in short, KML bridges the gap between technical design and real-world visualization. So let's take a look at that. Here again, we're in the Civil Survey workspace. We have a drawing containing various GIS layers, alignment edges, traffic signs, building footprint outlines. When we select a building outline, we can see the attribute information associated with it right in the Properties panel. It used to be that if we copied and pasted a GIS feature, we would just get the dumb entities, no data. But in V25, we've changed that. Even in just a Control-C and a Control-V, we can see in our properties that the attributes have been copied, and they can be edited as usual. Now, let's switch off the alignment and traffic sign layers and do an import-export. So we're going to choose GIS export and create a selection set, 43 entities. Next, the export dialog appears, and we can see that under the Save as Type, there's options to save as KML or KMZ. Also notice at the bottom right, you're going to see the slider bar, the progress bar, that shows that BricsCAD is creating those entities. Now it's very easy to export this with non-CAD users in Google Earth. Google Earth is just a browser, and we go in and open the project, and we can see that the project already contains our alignments and traffic signs. What we want to do is import our building footprints, and to do that, we can go in and import the KML file to the project, and there we see our entities that we exported from BricsCAD are here along with all of the attribute data. You can also see that we had an entity kind of in the middle that the attribute said to delete it. So we've done that, and that was done. And we can also exchange this information both ways. So within Google Earth, we can actually add new information. In this case, we drew a polyline, and we can export this over into BricsCAD. Once the KML file is downloaded, we switch back over to BricsCAD, and on the GIS panel of the Civil Explorer now, we can see the file to import. And with that, the GIS import wizard is going to run, and we can make any changes we need to attribute tables, and the newly drawn feature, that polygon, is already there. Also notice there's nothing in that blue rectangle because that was the item that we deleted in Google Maps. So this is a simple yet powerful workflow that gives you the ability to share the data that you have in BricsCAD with people who don't have BricsCAD or they don't have any CAD, which is going to make collaboration on projects quicker, easier, and more cost-effective. Now I'd like to introduce Alejandro Rodriguez. He has an interesting story about point clouds from VFO architects in Mexico.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. This is a customer that is an architectural firm. They are based in Mexico City. They are vast experience in several types of projects, from residential, commercial, offices, and even sports. They have been designing some of the most important stadiums in the last 20 years in Mexico. They are pioneers of the use of CAD and BIM in Mexico, and they've been asked to perform a feasibility and investment study in Monterrey, in a city of the state of Nuevo León in northern Mexico. So to do this in the scope of work, they were asked to perform their feasibility analysis. The area where the project was going to be built or is going to be built is still in process. It's an area with a residential area with low buildings. They've been asked to perform a study of accesses and roads, preliminary elevation and slope analysis, preliminary analysis of buildable units, and a preliminary analysis of investment and return of investment. To do this, BFO decided to carry on a photogrammic study, hiring a third party, in order to have a point cloud so they can be able to have fast and accurate data to perform the analysis. The consultant had to perform a basic photogrammetry process of a drone flight to get the point cloud. Can we use the next slide? Thank you, Julie. So from the photogrammetric process, an photo was obtained in JPG format and a raw point cloud obtained in LXS and RCP formats. This data seems easy to use with the application that BO uses very often, that is a very popular civil engineering application. And they thought they would be able to perform the requested studies in a very short period of time. However, in attempting to process the point cloud data, they encountered two main problems. The point cloud was not classified, and the processing program to obtain the thin surface took too long to properly develop a usable surface, despite the fact that the point cloud was not particularly large, not in extent nor in size. At this point, we were asked for advice on how BricsCAD would help them in improving the process to obtaining a usable thin surface for their project. Mm-hmm. We were able to create a point cloud from the surface in a few minutes and find a way to provide feedback to BFO staff regarding how the point cloud is being used and how to improve the use of it. Julie, can you show us how we can improve the workflows with plotting data in BricsCAD, please?
Yes, but before we do that, we're going to try another poll question. And that poll question is, do you currently work with point clouds? And again, Craig, let's see what we can get. Any responses yet?
It looks like Luisa has the poll.
Ah, okay. Well, even if you could, there we go. Okay, we've got a couple. Yes, we've got 4 responses. They're all using it. Oh, a little bit, a couple more yeses, 1 no. All right, so a lot of you are using point clouds. Great. That is great. All right, thank you so much. So with that, let's take a look at their actual point cloud and workflow. So here's, again, kind of the area of the project and the name of the project. And you can see they're trying to create part of this roadway. Now, I've got the drawing up, and actually we can see the point cloud's already been processed and inserted. You can see it is not very large, as Alejandro said. I was able to go in and classify the point cloud. Now, the benefit of classifying gives us better manipulation of areas of the point cloud. Here, it gives us the ability to turn on and off the vegetation. And because a lot of you are using point clouds, maybe you already know that there are several methods to generate tin surfaces in BricsCAD. One method is to use a polygon to clip or to define the area within the point cloud to create that tin surface, because we don't need a tin surface of the entire point cloud, just the area around the roadway. And that's what we did here, was use that polygon clip option to create the point cloud. To create the tin surface. So here we can see we can turn that tin surface on and off. Now those big peaks, they might look a little funny, but those are actually the overhead highway signs. So that's why we've got those big peaks. Now, once we have the tin surface, it can still be edited. We can go in and remove the outer edges and some points. We can do some smoothing to clean it up a bit. So, you know, it's pretty interesting that they were not able to really use a point cloud that they had and generate that tin surface in their other product, but we were able to do that very quick and very easily and give them all the information they need. So win for us. Now, although the survey tools in BricsCAD are powerful, we know that sometimes you still might need a few more tools. Now, this is just a few, very small number of survey-specific third-party applications that add that additional functionality to BricsCAD. One of those applications is called 12D Synergy, which is a common data environment for sharing drawings and project information, which brings us to our final polling question. Do you currently have a common data environment for sharing drawings and project information? And let's see if we can get that poll up. And do we have that poll? Is that? I don't know if we have, maybe just put it in the chat. Is anybody using a common data environment? All right, well, with that, let me introduce our next speaker. And that is Tom Neighbors from 12D Synergy. So let me stop sharing, and Tom, you can go ahead and start your part of the presentation.
Okay, so just sharing my screen now. Can everybody see that?
Yes, we do.
Great. All right. Hi, everyone. And thanks, Julie and the Bricsys team for inviting me to be here today. I'm going to give you a quick introduction into 12D Synergy, which is a common data environment and collaboration software. So my name's Tom. I'm a digital engineering specialist for 12D Synergy based in the UK. But as you might be able to tell from my funny accent, I'm originally from New Zealand, where I've spent most of my career. My background is actually in GIS, survey and information management. And in my previous life, I worked for a tier 1 design consultancy, and I worked on a lot of different types of projects like major highways projects, railways, and also a mixture of urban and suburban development projects as well. So what is 12D Synergy? It is known as an advanced data management and collaboration system. And it's commonly known as a CDE, or a common data environment. And what it is it's designed to help manage emails, documentation, data, and drawing, so the right teams have the right data at the right stage of every single project. And I guess what makes us slightly different to other CDEs or other document management systems is that we actually specialize in geospatial data management, which is often not the case. So a little bit more about who we are. We are a 100% privately owned business. We originate out of Australia, and we're very well established there and a market leader. We've been around since about 2011 and we've grown a lot since then. A lot of that is down to our people, who are largely from the industry, like myself. So it's sort of a software made by surveyors and engineers for surveyors and engineers. We also have people based all over the world, like myself, so we can cover many different time zones and support customers everywhere. So why does 12D Synergy exist in the first place? What's its purpose? Basically, what we've seen over the years, particularly in surveys, the way that data is being captured, created, and used has changed a lot. And with that has brought a lot of complexity, right? So the typical data sets that you might see in businesses, DWGs, large 3D project models or surfaces, LiDAR or aerial photos, or point clouds, like pretty much everything that we've discussed today already. So survey data is big and complex, and all this data is being continuously created, used, accessed, saved, accessed again, and many document management solutions don't cater to the needs of survey because survey data is complex. The work we do is actually quite specialized. Surveys are often seen as the data managers, yet projects often dictate how or where we manage that data. And that can lead to lots of problems. Like, I'll just put this data on a USB stick just in case I need to take it out in the field, or where did my file go, or has someone changed this? Is this the latest version? And all this stuff can lead to confusion. It can lead to rework, missed deadlines, and ultimately unhappy clients. So the solution is a common data environment that can be accessed by a team wherever they are, and one that not only does the basics like tracking, managing, and controlling files, one that is actually specifically designed to cater to the needs of surveyors and engineers. So a great example of this is actually the way that BricsCAD integrates seamlessly with 12D Synergy. The integration provides an interface directly within BricsCAD that enables seamless drawing and data management directly from 12D Synergy. Like, you can check in and check out, you can search and bind your XREFs, you can add attributes, add title block information, you can even add references directly from 12D Synergy, and a whole lot more without even having to leave your CAD interface. It's a fantastic tool in that sense. On the 12D Synergy end as well, you have even more features like creating job templates, preset folder structures, permissions and naming conventions, plus full version control and revision management. So one of the great things about this is how flexible it is. So you can customize it to suit your specific needs and apply it to any data set within your project. This is another real key point with 12D Synergy. It is completely file type agnostic. So you're pretty much not limited in what you can work with. So without 12D Synergy as well, moving CAD files around your network can also cause XREF links to break if you're using them. And restoring those manually can be a real hassle. So with 12D Synergy, XREFs can be linked and tracked in the system on the server. So you don't actually have to worry about them. Plus, you can also manage and view these references through a clear and intuitive graphic visualization like the one that's shown here. And is another great feature as well. If you're working on a drawing and one of the XREFs gets updated, you'll actually receive a notification right away. So you can update that XREF, and you always know that you're working with the latest information. So another one of my favorite functions is the ability to actually update title blocks using the bulk file attribute editor directly from the server. So all title block information can be handled as attributes, and with a click of a button, a whole set of drawings can be updated without even having to open any DWGs whatsoever. So it's all on the server side. So really, really smart tool. So what could this look like for you as a field to finish workflow? So data is captured on site, 12D Synergy centralizes your data in the cloud, and then it is seamlessly brought into BricsCAD using the 12D Synergy plugin. So your team can now work share, collaborate from anywhere, use server-side functions to automate your processes like publishing outputs, and keep a controlled, auditable record of all information that has been transmitted to the client. So I thought what I'd do is actually share a user story from Woods, which is one of the most trusted survey firms from New Zealand. Mark Clues, the technical manager, said, "Before 12D Synergy, we struggled with data loss, inefficient file management, and the limitation of network drives, especially as our teams needed more flexibility. Synergy stood out because it could manage software natively and integrate smoothly with BricsCAD, which was a game changer for us. During COVID-19, having Synergy already in place allowed us to transition to remote work without missing a beat. Today, we have streamlined workflows, reliable version control with rollback, and faster drawing production. Our teams now collaborate effortlessly across large-scale projects like Millwater, where managing thousands of documents is critical. The integration has saved us time, reduced errors, and given us a scalable system we trust for future growth. So as you can see, that's a really good example of someone using 12D Synergy, and we are also widely trusted and used across the industry. So on the right there, they're just some of the larger companies that use our solutions. However, we do cater to everyone. So, from the tier 1 construction companies all the way down to your small survey firms. So our relation with the Hexagon Group has gone from strength to strength over the years. And it's shown by how much hardware and software we support. So especially with the Leica Geosystems, which again emphasizes why we're a great fit for businesses that utilize not only BricsCAD, but other survey hardware and software, as we've heard earlier today. So things like Infinity, Captivate, Icon, Connex, and GeoCloud are all supported alongside BricsCAD within our ecosystem. So from the moment that data is captured on site all the way to transmitting the final deliverable, 12D Synergy provides that comprehensive project, survey, and CAD management system that enables surveyors, drafters, engineers to edit, exchange, collaborate, track, and transmit data efficiently throughout the project lifecycle. This means better quality control and more valuable time saved on projects. So, by ensuring that the right teams have that right data at the right time, 12D Synergy improves your project quality, it boosts that efficiency, and it reduces risk. So, helping teams make informed decisions and essentially stay in control throughout every phase of your project. Furthermore, I guess we also understand that in reality, there are many other systems and tools that are there for specific needs, and we connect to those too. So, it's all about creating an ecosystem of systems, which we've called CDE 2.0. It's part of our ethos. We believe in interoperability and flexibility. It's about enabling you to choose the right tools for the job and complementing these technologies so you get the most out of your software stack. So if you've liked what you've seen, we'd love to have the chance to talk to your organization about how your project requirements and essentially show you how flexible 12D Synergy could be and can adapt to your needs. That's all I've got. Thank you very much, Julie. I'll hand back over to you.
All right, great. Thank you so much. That was very interesting. All right, and that kind of leaves us to the Q&A portion of our presentation. So let's take some questions. Craig, was there anything in the chat that we should talk about?
Yeah, we had a couple of questions regarding the types of files that are brought in within the GIS import. And we did mention within that the GIS types are shape files and SHX files, Esri-based files. Also wanted to mention that the Esri-based maps is now incorporated within BricsCAD. So when you do your geolocations and bring in your reference maps, those are Esri-based maps. We've got a great relationship with them, and with the Bing maps that have been discontinued, we will be continuing with the great Esri maps for
Good point.
Map.
Yep. Yeah, good point.
We did have a question that I received from someone else asking about 12D Synergy, and it says, is there a lightweight configuration suitable for smaller businesses? Tom?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, look, the platform is completely scalable and customizable to your needs. Like I mentioned, we have some of the largest construction companies in the world using it. We've also got some really small survey firms as well. And so, by understanding your requirements, I guess we can help you set up exactly what you would need. It's certainly scalable, so you don't have to have every single bell and whistle there. We can definitely scale down to suit the exact needs of your business and your requirements. Yep.
Great, thank you. And one other question was in regards to point clouds. What's the largest point cloud that you've been able to import?
Oh boy, that's a good one. I don't know. I actually don't know. We've had some pretty big ones that I know took maybe 20 minutes to process. Hundreds of gigs. We can look into that and get back to you on that. I just don't know off the top of my head what that was. Alejandro, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can speak from the point clouds that we have been working the last couple of years. It ranges from 30 gigs to 50 gigs. The largest point cloud I've used at 50 gigabytes. So it was reality capture from a bridge, from a construction process, about a mile.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We have had clients who have had issues opening point clouds and other programs, and
Yeah.
they've been able to process those directly within BricsCAD.
Yep.
And
VFO. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question, Jonathan, I see you keep raising your hand. Can you go ahead and put your question in the chat if you don't mind?
Yeah. Regarding
I can't.
Okay. Well, then go ahead and jump right in.
Well, sure. No, I can't type it in. I guess I would, but I don't see an option here to type in my chat here. I think it's closed. But I guess basically I was just going to ask about I like the option on BricsCAD for point symbols. Like we can use them for like manholes, water valves, that kind of thing, and also for like a point labels. Like what we can do is actually like turn off the point number and the point description and add a suffix or a prefix. So like we have a point label that automatically says like TC 100 .00 and so forth. But the key thing that seems to be missing is a way to assign those and maybe assign labels to points based off of the survey code. I didn't know if that's something that you're working on, if there's a third-party software out there that would be able to do that. I saw that like SmartDraft has like their P blocks, which can assign a symbol, but it'd be great to have the point labels and all that, just or to have that inside of BricsCAD.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jonathan. We do have development in the works for a lot of different features for the civil tool set. I am not sure about the point blocks, but you're right. SmartDraft is a really good supplement to have on top of BricsCAD. It allows you to do a lot of different point processing and line work processing that we don't currently have yet. So you're right. It is that is one of the things that you definitely could look at.
Also, I would suggest putting in a feature request through our support site for you to do, Jonathan, as well. Just as get it in the record, as we say, to see the more feature requests we have. Sometimes that will sway development to take a look at something. So everyone's always welcome to submit feature requests.
And one other thing I wanted to mention as well, that John has mentioned, we do offer Bricsys lessons. We do have some Bricsys Essentials lessons and the Bricsys Advantage to get you comfortable with some of the advantages that we have as BricsCAD. He had mentioned that it'd be nice if we had some survey courses. Those are coming. We have some civil lessons that are currently being produced and scripted right now. So we definitely know that's on our roadmap. So we appreciate that. And as soon as we can get those to you, we will. But you will find a lot of advantageous lessons within our lessons page. I put a link in the chat, and we can definitely follow up with anybody else with an email later on, whether it's printing and plotting, getting used to the interface and customizations, whatever it is.
And just so you know, you may have to register for those, but there is no charge associated with them. But you may need to register to enter the tutorial.
Yeah, it takes like 30 seconds to sign up with an email verification. It's very easy.
Yeah.
Daniel, you had a question?
Go ahead, Daniel. If you're speaking, you might be on mute.
Looks like he's off mute. We just can't hear him.
Can you type something in the chat? Well, if not, why don't Craig, let's see how we can we'll reach out to Daniel directly to follow up with his question or comment.
Yep, sounds great.
And with that, we're at the end of our 45 minutes. So let me just do a very quick wrap up, very quick review of what we saw today. We looked at the Leica to BricsCAD workflow to see how quickly you can import data from that Leica hardware right into BricsCAD and create those templates in BricsCAD that you can use directly in Leica Infinity. We looked at the drafting workflow for surveyors in BricsCAD that helps you create your specific deliverables faster and easier. Next up was the better collaboration with GIS data and BricsCAD, especially around those KML files, being able to go into Google Earth and bring information back and forth. Alejandro showed us how VFO architects in Mexico are using BricsCAD to create tint surfaces from point clouds that they weren't able to do in another software product. And last but not least, Tom Neighbors gave us a wonderful introduction to 12D Synergy, showing how integrating with CDE can track, manage, and control files, again, saving time, reducing errors, and how that is such a seamless integration with BricsCAD. For more information, Tom gave you some information, his email. You can also go directly to their website and schedule a demo, reach out to them as well. You can scan this QR code. It'll take you directly to the free 30-day trial of BricsCAD, and that's on our website at bricsys.com. And we'll be following up, as I said, with David. All right, looks like we've got one more question, and then unfortunately we're going to have to wrap it up. Go ahead, Jorn.
Yeah, actually, I have a comment. So the online tutorials, they're great. It's good to have. However, sometimes you have more specific or pointed questions that you would like to talk to someone about. So, I would prefer a training that I pay, a couple $100 for, and I can use it for my professional development hours. And it's like 2 to 4 days BricsCAD training, and I can ask specific questions, because that's something you can do with tutorials. You're basically stuck with whatever was pre-recorded, and it's helpful, no doubt. But sometimes you have things that are specific to your workflow, and having a course that can go into more detail of what some people are dealing with would be preferred. So if you can offer a BricsCAD for surveyors course that is like 4 days online, and you can ask questions at the end of the session, or do some specific training, and then you get a certificate and you use it for your professional development hours, that would be great.
Unfortunately, we are not set up to do that right now. Some of our partners do offer training. As far as the getting credit for your continuing ed, that also requires that the content be approved by whoever is giving you those certification hours. It sounds easy. I've done it in other companies. It takes a little bit of time to get that set up, but anytime you have questions, though, I do encourage you to even submit a support request. Our support team will help you the best they can. They're a great support team. If you've purchased BricsCAD from a partner, I would also start with them, many of them have very good knowledge on, in this case, the civil tools. So that would be where I would start. But thank you for the comment. I have heard that before, and I will send that up the chain as well.
Yeah, it's something worth looking into. I mean, I did some other training courses with CAD software and stuff, and it was definitely worth it. So
Yep.
Just wanted to mention it. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Oh,
Julie, we got one more from Mustafa. Mustafa, good to see you,
Yes,
my friend.
yes.
How are you?
Greg, I saw Jörn is also close to my hometown here in Germany. Jörn, you can just contact me. I have some knowledge about BricsCAD Civil. Maybe I can help you out.
Perfect. That's the way it's supposed to work. All right. Thank you so much for that.
Sorry, Jörn, if you are based in Germany, there are also specific German offers for usage of BricsCAD. We use them at Ambient Berger, and we are very happy with them. So I can send you this if you want.
Even better.
Please. I mean, I'm from Germany. I'm in Canada now, though, but I do still speak German, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, great. So they are online courses, so maybe you can deal out something with them.
Yeah, what's the company called?
I just send it to you.
Oh, you send it to me? Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. All right, awesome. Appreciate it.
What a great global representation that was
Exactly.
within about 30 seconds. That was awesome. That
Wonderful.
was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us today. We like to do these webinars and especially get a nice, good feedback like we've had in this group. So thank you all for participating and for attending, and have a great rest of the day wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.